Hi everyone, this is Chris Green, the History Chap, and I just want to share with you a few events that happened in British history, week commencing the 15th of November. So we've got Winston Churchill, the Boer War, we've got Vikings, we've got Queen Victoria's children, the oldest laws in England, and the Pilgrim Fathers. Buckle up and let's get going. 15th of November 1899, Winston Churchill is captured by the Boers during the Boer War and made a prisoner of war. 25-year-old Winston Churchill was in South Africa as a war correspondent covering the Second Anglo Boer War between the British Empire and the Dutch republics of the Transvaal and the Orange Free State. Churchill had previously been an army officer, but had resigned his commission in order to earn better money as a correspondent. Anyway, here he was, a civilian war correspondent on an armoured train that was going on a reconnaissance mission in what's now KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. It came under fire from the Boers and part of the train was derailed. And despite being, in theory, just a journalist, he took command of some of the British troops and tried to help them to get the train back on the tracks. He was captured by the Boers, and the Boers were having none of this. He was just a mere war correspondent. They'd seen him, running around directing troops, and they said effectively he was a battle combatant. And then they found out he was a high-profile prisoner, that his father had been the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Minister of Finance in Britain. So they put him in prison in the Transvaal capital of Pretoria. But on the 12th of December 1899, he made a daring escape under the cover of darkness. He climbed over a wall, he jumped on a train and he hid under some old coal sacks and he escaped to the neutral Portuguese territory of Mozambique. The Boers put a price on his head. They actually had a £25 reward, quite a lot of money in those days, for Winston Churchill, dead or alive. Amazing how history could have turned out so differently, hey? The 25-year-old Churchill arrived back in Britain to a hero's welcome. And in 1900, about 6 months after his escape, he was elected to Parliament as a war hero. And that was the beginning of his parliamentary career, which on and off went on into the 1960s, a 60-year span in British politics. 18th of November, 1267, a long way back in history now, the Statute of Marlborough. The Statute of Marlborough is the oldest piece of statute law still in existence in the UK, 754 years old. And it got on the statutes book even before the Magna Carta. The original Magna Carta, which was passed a little bit further earlier by King John in 1215, but it had been repealed. And it finally made its way onto the statutes book in 1297, 30 years after the Statutes of Marlborough. The Statute of Marlborough dealt with how people dealt with debt. People, principally the nobility, were taking law into their own hands, and Henry III had had enough of that. The two areas where it really still sort of resonates in English law is it forbids individuals to seek revenge for a non-payment of a debt without having the authority of the court, and individuals can't just reclaim debts by stopping people on the King's Highway on common streets. It also said that tenants are forbidden from ruining or selling off land that they rent, in particular agricultural land, and that still survives to this day. 20th of November 869, even further back, Saint Edmund the Martyr, King of East Anglia, is martyred by the Vikings. I don't want to give you any more about that particular story today because I've actually got a video all about Edmund the Martyr and his brush with the great heathen army. And it'll be coming up now or at the end. Watch the little link at the top of the screen. 21st of November 1620, Pilgrim Fathers, they landed in America. 122 colonists arrive on the Mayflower. About a third were dissident Protestants from the English, what was called the English Separatist Church, nothing to do with the Church of England. Unlike Puritans who wanted to reform the Church of England, the Separatists basically wanted to worship totally outside of the established church, and therefore they were victimised by the state. They fled to Protestant Holland, and they persuaded a London stock company to fund a venture to find some freedom, found a free colony in America. Originally they considered Guyana, and then they also considered Virginia, but they sort of wanted to be beyond the controls of the colonial authorities, and that's why they chose an area which we now know as New England. The Mayflower was 80 feet in length, 24 feet across, and there it was bobbing across the Atlantic, this tiny boat. It took 65 days to cross the Atlantic. Finally, they sighted Cape Cod and they continued up the coast and landed at Plymouth Rock on the 21st of November. And finally, for this week, 21st of November 1840, Queen Victoria's first child is born. Princess Victoria, daughter of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, was born on this day in Buckingham Palace. A year later, her brother, the future Edward VII and our current Queen's great-grandfather, was born. Queen Victoria went on to she had 9 children in total. And this young Princess Victoria, born in 1840, was given the title Princess Royal. She married Frederick of Prussia, who went on to become the Emperor or Kaiser of Germany. And Victoria was his empress. After a reign of just 99 days, Frederick died. And their son, their estranged son, Wilhelm, became emperor. Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, who led Germany into the First World War, fighting against his cousin, King George V of Great Britain. So there you go. Few things that you may have known about from British history, but forgotten. A few things you might not have known about at all. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up down below. Subscribe. And if you want to know more about British history, sign up to my Introduction to British History booklet at thehistorychap.com. Until next week, take care, and I'll see you very soon.